everybody, welcome to the Rockingham Speedway here in Rockingham, North Carolina. This is a bit of a change from earlier this season when we went to Rockingham, UK, but it's still going to be a good race nonetheless. Thank you guys so much for joining me here for the last race of the second round of the Season 7 chase for the Budweiser All-Pro Series Championship. Now, I am not alone. I am being joined up in the booth by our most recent winner, who guaranteed his spot in round number 3 of the chase. It is Mr. NNSCRA himself, Seth Cole. Seth, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, great to be here. Yeah, apparently with winning, I'm locked into the next round, so I took the opportunity to come up here. I'm not even going to disclose who's driving the 52 today, so...
You mean 30.
The 30, yeah. Sorry, I'm delirious with delight.
He doesn't even remember his own number.
I'm in so many of them.
All right, Seth. So tell us some track facts here for Rockingham. God, I talk too fast.
Well, Rockingham, North Carolina, it can be a two-groove track, but I think today you're definitely going to see the inside line is the preferred line. And while this track is wide, it is somewhat hard to get good runs out of the corners to be able to try and pass. So a lot of the passing, I think, is going to take place early on in this race. Once things get spread out, it's going to come down to who has the best long-run car. And I think we're going to get to see who has the best long-run car because this is a track where normally you don't get a lot of cautions. Pit strategy, fuel strategy comes into play. So these drivers, hopefully during practice, they put together their best long-run setup because I think that's going to be a key, especially in the closing stages of this race, as to who's going to be finishing first and who isn't.
That is very, very true. This track can eat away at tires pretty good. But the front row is going to consist of pole sitter John Arndt in the number 95, who we've learned recently that he is switching to his own team, driving the number 05 for next season in Season 8. So John Arndt looking ahead to the future already. And alongside of him is Pichu London, who is, I believe, coming back for next season. I don't remember off the top of my head what car number he decided to choose this next season. But we got two drivers who are going to be back in Season 8 on the front row. Our highest qualifying chaser is Charles Jackson in the 3rd position. Let's go trackside for the command to fire the engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
We go. The command to fire the engines has been given. Seth, as these cars are about to roll off the track, what do you think will be the keys to victory here today?
Keys to victory, obviously pass early. You're going to want to... We got the 47 in trouble there.
The 47 of Wyatt Troxell has not gotten going. Something is amiss on that number 47 car. Now that
That's a tough break there for that rookie because this is not one of those longer tracks where you can get the problem diagnosed, fixed, and out on track without losing a lap.
Let's hope these cars can catch up with the leaders before we go green flag. Otherwise,
it could be a bit of a staggered start if they don't catch up.
A very scrambled start to start this race.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to barely catch up.
Alright, we're coming off of turn number 4. The pace cars getting ready to duck in. Seth, take us to the green flag.
Alright, here we go. Getting ready to find out who's going to transfer into the contender round. Green flag's out. We're underway at Rockingham NK or NC and whatever. Letters.
Letters. Party.
Party.
Charles Jackson already gets into 2nd place, but now it's just a race for John Arndt and others behind him.
Now keep in mind too, now it's obvious that if a chaser wins today, boom, they're automatically into the next round. But I'm not really certain that's the main goal for a chaser here today. The main goal for them is to have the best momentum heading into the contender round because, you know, if you win the race, it's common knowledge. You're moving on to the next round. But if you win the race as well, you've got yourself great momentum heading into the 3rd round of the chase.
That is very true. We're looking here at Dylan Young. Dylan got won at Pocono earlier this season. That's what got him into the chase. But he also backed it up with a win at Watkins Glen to start off this 2nd round. So what's his mindset coming into this race knowing he's already in the 3rd round?
His mindset's going to be exactly the same as Seth Cole. They're going to go for broke. They're going to try and win another race here in this Challenger round. They can afford a DNF because they are obviously locked into the next round. So they can go 110%, whereas there are others that have to be a little bit more conservative, have to be a little bit more wary on just how hard they push the issue in their chances of making it into the next round.
And speaking of trying to figure out how hard they have to run, we're looking here at Chuck Petty. This is two straight races of not good runs. He practically needs to win this race to advance.
And one thing I noticed too, I wouldn't be surprised if we had like a ticker of who's lost the most spots since the start of this race. Chuck Petty would probably be topping that list because you can see he's running way back here towards the rear of the field. He started this race up inside the top 20 in the 18th position, so he has dropped way back since the drop of the green flag.
Wyatt Troxel and Stuart Gratton, they've actually fallen behind here. I don't know why
that 17 might have had to teleport to pit road too.
Two cars who had trouble, and look, we have a new leader, Charles Jackson, able to get around John Arndt.
Yeah, and there's one thing about it: when the chase begins, the non-chasers, they are targeting the chasers because they know the chasers want to get to victory lane, but just as much, they missed out on the chase. They want to finish out the season as best they can. Those non-chasers do. So I wouldn't exactly expect to see that 95 of John Arndt riding behind the 54 for very long. He's going to be challenging back for the lead pretty soon.
Look who the fastest car on the racetrack is.
Yeah, Charles Jackson. As a matter of fact, you can see there, top 4 fastest speeds are your top 4 drivers. So that just shows you the importance of clean air and not being in traffic.
We're now, I believe we reached the point of the race where now the cars are start to get single file. We'll see some.
Got 8 laps in.
We'll see some passes here and there. We got 40 laps. Pit stops are on, so fuel strategy is going to come into play here.
Absolutely. I've not seen a Rockingham race yet where fuel strategy has not in some way, shape, or form come into play.
Looking at Anthony McCurry, he's another chaser. Remember, I think he was one of the final 4 last season, right?
Yeah, he was. Yep.
Anthony McCurry still in the chase. He's running about mid-pack. He last crossed the start-finish line in 23rd place.
You can see him on the outside line, and the interesting thing I'm noticing is he's been side by side with that 27 car for the last couple of laps. Neither driver has really gained an advantage on each other, so it's looking like, despite the usual tire wear on the high side, especially in turn 1, looks like McCurry's got himself a good car on the high line.
He's got the 11 of Benjamin Miles behind him. This is about the only battling on the pack now because everybody else has gotten single file. Look at this little train of cars here.
And you know, people wouldn't expect it, but this is a method of saving fuel, running single file nose to tail like that. So, you know, it's a possibility. It's not likely, but there is a slight chance that drivers might have gotten together, said, hey, we're probably going to be around each other during the portion of this race. Let's stay single file, work together, and maybe, just maybe, we can stay out a couple laps extra when other drivers start making green flag pit stops.
Caution.
Oh.
No, maybe not. Okay.
Nope, no caution.
They were just slowing down pretty. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, here we go.
Well, that's one thing you're going to see here is speeds taper off because of the tire wear at Rockingham. I mean, this track, especially turn 1, I've raced this track so many times, and turn 1 eats your tires up if you overdrive that corner just the least little bit.
Daniel Geit battling with Austin Geit here. Dylan Poteet not that far behind.
Yeah, and as these drivers battle amongst themselves, that's just allowing that front 4 to check out, and they continue to battle. That might bring Trent Dunham and the 48 of Austin LaPlante right to their back door. We could have about maybe 6-7 cars up here battling for a spot in the top 5.
That's very true. Dylan Poteet going to get underneath them for the 6th position. Back up at the front. The gap really isn't growing for the 54 and the 90 and the 95. It's been steady at about 2 to 3 tenths each lap.
Yeah, it's been about maybe a car length and a half, 2 car length separation from first to second, and then the same distance back from Arndt to Pichu London. So right now, I would say at this point in time, they're just letting their cars settle in. They're trying to conserve their tires. But there you see, John Arndt got a nice run there, especially in the middle of the corner, and gets a nice drive off. He might be able to get a run on Charles Jackson this lap.
That's very true. Charles driving out the mirror. He is very close. 95 car. He might just be trying to see what his car has. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you need a long-distance car. You need a long-run car, and John Art may have just found something here with his setup that apparently he likes, and it's allowed him to really maneuver through 1 and 2 really nicely.
Yeah, it has. Just look at how close he is, and he's trying to intimidate Charles a little bit here. We'll see, but remember, you don't want to ruin your tires too early.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'd be concerned about is he using up more rubber than the 54? Now, he is obviously getting a much better fuel mileage with this being tucked up right behind Charles Jackson, allowing Charles Jackson to cut the wind for him, so that's helping him out. But yeah, to your point, the tires, I'm not certain if he's forcing the issue too much right now, being right up on the 54 Toyota's back bumper.
I like turns 3 and 4 a lot at this racetrack. You know, if you listen to a lot of people when they talk about how they race this racetrack, you know, the late Dale Earnhardt said that to win at this track, you got to stay off the brakes in turns 3 and 4.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've run this track before, and there is a area in the middle of 3 and 4 where you can actually run the track wide open. When the tires start going away, obviously, then you have to start playing with the throttle a little bit. But yeah, very little brake is used in the 3 and 4 area. The toughest part of this racetrack is right there going into turn 1 because it's not your usual kind of turn. It's kind of like a 45-degree angle drop. And that is what causes so many drivers tire wear because the car pushes up whether you have a tight setup underneath you or not.
Oh, here they come to pit road now. Pit stop.
Oh, there we go. All right, so this is interesting that all the leaders are coming together because nobody's trying to stay out. One thing about this pit road, it can get very, very congested.
One car did decide to stay out, and that would be the 4 of Marco Martinez.
Yeah, I actually really applaud this strategy because,
he let the 17 car go by him. He's like, okay, I'm trying to save fuel. Go ahead and go by.
He's trying to save fuel, and he's also trying to save tire rubber. We know the 17's about 4 laps down, so he's got about 4 laps fresher tires than the Budweiser Chevrolet.
Okay, maybe the 34 car stayed out before. Unless the 34 pit before everybody.
He might have pit before everybody else.
Yeah, he's in the 40th position. Although there are a lot of them a lap down.
Yeah, Cittadino there, and I thought I saw Sam McMillan a lap down. Maybe they had pitted a lap earlier before the leaders hit pit road.
Oh, they pit really early or something, because I just noticed there's a lot of cars a lap down. Well, not anymore, but...
And this would tell me that they were probably thinking about the fresh rubber strategy, because if you can get fresher rubber than everybody else, you're going to turn faster lap times before everybody else hits pit road. And you can see right here, yeah, I think the 18, the 31, I think they came to pit road a lap earlier.
Drive his car. Poteet's
yeah.
He's gonna take the lead.
He got a great run there out of 4.
The 18 car got held up by the 17 when he was trying to come into pit road. That's gonna propel Dylan Poteet to the lead. Now the question remains, will they have enough fuel to make it to the end?
Well, they just ended up pitting pretty much between laps 19 and 21, so it's going to be very questionable for a couple of those drivers. The 31 and the 18, I think, made pit stops the same time as Abe Troxel in the 34, John Cittadino in the 72. The only thing I can see that may work out for them is if, and there's a big if because, you know, with the way they're spread out, I don't see it happening. If they got a caution, they might be able to clutch under pacing laps and save a little bit of fuel. But right now, you know, you look at it, you got Poteet, you've got Geip, they're non-chasers. I say go for it.
That's very true.
And you can just see how the pit strategy has definitely come into play here. You got 3 drivers up there at the front. I think the highest one of the 3 before the pit stops began was the 41 car. And I think he was running at the time in the 6th position before pit stops began.
Something happened with Trent. Something happened with Charles. He was our leader. Now look at him. He's back on pit road with 2 tires.
Coming in, getting right. No, he's going for a full 4-tire stop. So
I think maybe a loose wheel or possibly a flat tire.
If it were a loose wheel, I don't think they'd be changing all 4 tires. It's looking like they are coming down and expecting this to be a final stop. Apparently, they feel everybody else, regardless of whether they pitted as late as lap 21, can't make it the rest of the way.
So then why would he take fuel?
And that's a very good question.
Not
I'm not
fuel,
really
not fuel. I meant to say tires, sorry.
take
Why would he
tires.
take
The only
tires?
well, maybe taking tires to get that fresh rubber again. I mean, he only ran what, maybe 5 laps on that set of tires, but I don't know. Maybe he thinks that it's going to give him a better run to the finish. Also, you never know. Maybe in those 5 laps, maybe they put the wrong kind of air pressure in there, and they had to change it up for him. Maybe he didn't like the way his car was handling.
That's very true. Here's the highest now out of the cycle of pit stops. Here's the highest running chaser, and it says O'Neal Bulvin, who's steadily in the top 10, just kind of working his way around the track, hoping that nothing goes wrong for that 04 team.
He's just been kind of quiet there in the top 10. I think he may have actually slipped out of the top 10 at one point. He started this race in, I think it was 8th place, so he's done a good job of getting himself back up there in the hunt, and he's about to lose a spot to Dexter Black in the 14, but quite honestly, I think that O'Neal's at the point where he'll gladly just give up that position just to remain there in the top 10, get a solid points day to move on to the next round.
That's very true. I know his team has been trying out a lot of fuel strategies as of late, especially at Watkins Glen, when he stayed out trying to make the race a one-stop race and almost got away with it.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't exactly have the best car out there, so he tried going with fuel strategy to get himself track position. Today, he doesn't really have to worry about doing that. He's got himself some good track position right now, solidly running in that 7th spot.
Now, Dylan Potee has pulled away quite a bit, but we have a new fast car on the racetrack. That is the 5 of Emily Anderson.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the 5 car is running right now. Somewhere outside the top 10. But I find it very interesting, Dylan Potee and that team going with this kind of strategy here because, you know, we ended up seeing his teammate Seth Cole go to victory lane last week, so, you know, maybe we're starting to see some of the program's equipment, some of their good equipment, some of their strategy heading over to the 31 team, which has been one of the struggling teams on the Tweenix side. So, you know, they may be kind of working with some different strategy here, seeing if it plays out in the favor of the 31 car. Very
true. I think Potee might actually have backed off the throttle a little bit. He is catching some lap traffic. Sam McMillan, Stuart Gradden, and Abe Troxel.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is the 9 and the 34 of Troxel and McMillan. I believe they ended up pitting on the exact same lap as Potee and Geit. So you can see here that apparently they did not have very good track position when they came to pit road, so the strategy has helped them out nil. Also could be because they pitted so early, their tires are going away very quickly, and it's causing them to not run very fast lap times.
Now Dylan Poteet's got the freshest air of them all as he's going to come across the line. The gap between first and second now grew to about a second, to 1.1 seconds.
And that kind of worries me, to be honest with you, because Dylan Potee, with that kind of a gap, he can start conserving a little bit, saving fuel. I think he's got enough tires to get to the end, but I would be very concerned about the fuel because I would say he'd be somewhere between 1 to 1.5 laps short based off of when he came to pit road. The fuel window's somewhere around 19 to 20 laps. So, you know, if I were him, I'd back off a little bit, try and conserve a little bit of fuel here because he's got a nice little hefty bit of space between himself and the 18.
This is very true. We're coming to 5 laps to go this time by.
And keep in mind, too, the 18's on the same pit strategy as Potee. So if Potee backs off, then the 18 would end up maybe using up fuel trying to run him down. So, you know, it's kind of a little cat and mouse game that Potee could be playing here, but looks like he's still just giving it all it's worth at the moment.
Heard that he's going to run his car until it runs out of gas.
And he's going to come up on some traffic here, too, and that could play a huge factor into the outcome of this race, because if you're dealing with drivers on the tail end of the lead lap that you know are up to speed,
look at how much slower
that's going to be hard to pass.
Look at how much slow he was running. He just went to that corner at like 115.
Yeah, he's definitely having to get out of the throttle a lot sooner. About 119 through that.
He's coming to pit road.
He's coming to the pit lane.
Dylan Potee, lap short, and that's going to give P2 London the lead.
Wow. Now, Pichu London, remember, ended up pitting, I believe it was on lap 20. So he's right on the bubble of being able to make it the rest of the way.
And look who's second. Two drivers have not won a race this season.
And I might be just seeing things, but it looks like John
he's
Art in the
coming to pit
95, our
road,
pole
too.
sitter's got some damage on the front of his machine.
The 43 coming to pit road, and yeah, it does kind of look like that.
There must have been a stack up on pit road or something. I don't know.
Crap. Pichu London came to pit road. Now look who has the lead.
Yeah, rookie Dexter Black. And he's got John Art right behind him. Now, Dexter, let's see what he's going to be able to do. I think he also came to pit road the same lap as the leaders did. And is he going to come to pit road? Yes, he is.
John Art is too, and look who's not.
Oh, my goodness. Jessica Shelton rolling the dice.
White flag, 1 lap to go. This is not the first time she's done this. She's backing way off because of Dylan Poteet. She's going to let Dylan Poteet go. This is not the first time this
your
O2
tires.
car.
Smart move there.
Look at the top 3 right now.
My goodness. Shelton, Silver Fox, Anthony McCrory.
Coming off of turn number 4 on fuel strategy alone, Jessica Shelton's going to pick up, I believe it's her 3rd victory of the season. And automatically puts her into next round as well.
Wow, I didn't see when she came to pit road, but I would love to have known how far she stretched it. Man. And how about a couple of gutsy calls for a couple of chasers there, Shelton and McCrory, coming away with top 3s as a result. And James Silverfox, we never talked about that Vodafone Ford all day. He's going to come away with a runner-up spot.
I was trying to figure out where that 27 was going. Looked like some heated words there between the 11 and the 70.
Yeah, there might have been. They're both gonna ride around another lap, voicing their displeasure, it looks like.
Alright, let me find her again if she hasn't already.
Yeah, it looks like the 02, the 10, the 61, looks like they could have made it around another lap if need be. So they were more than likely really conserving fuel after that pit stop.
Only 8 cars remained on the lead lap, so even though Dylan Poteet pitted from the lead, he did not fall very far.
Man. Like I said, this race was going to come down to pit strategy, and we just saw it there.
Yeah, we did. Jessica Shelton pulls away with her 3rd victory of the season. If I'm not mistaken, it's her 3rd victory of the season. 3rd or no, I don't even remember. Definitely have to double check. I think it's her 3rd.
Well, whichever it is, she's got great momentum heading into the next round of the chase. There's no doubt about that.
Very true. The next round of the chase, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be at Talladega.
Wow.
Talladega, yep, because the next round will be Talladega, it'll be Talladega, Homestead, and then Talladega, Phoenix, Homestead, and then the last round will be at FTF.
Yeah, Talladega, one of those wild card races. You definitely need good momentum heading into there.
Yes, we do. So Shelton gets the victory. Silver Fox second. McCurry rounds out into a 3rd place finish. We talked about him earlier, how he had a good car, so his crew made the right call.
Yep.
Pichu London, Dexter Black, Dylan Poteet, Austin LaPlante, and John Art, all those cars who had to actually pit with coming to the white flag, so they didn't really get trapped 1 lap down like the rest of them did.
No, and they still had a solid top 10 run, so.
Look at Dylan Young bounce back to a 12th place finish.
Yeah, I think he may have picked up the most spots in this race because he started way back. I think it was like in the mid-30s. So great run there for the 2 car.
And I have no clue what happened to Charles Jackson. I'm
really confused about that strategy too.
Really like to know what happened to Charles.
I mean, from what I saw absolutely no visible damage on his machine. Oh, was there contact between him and Arndt? Was that where Arndt got his front end damage?
I don't know, let's see.
Right here, gonna slow up for his pit stall, and right there, yep.
Yeah, so it's where the 95 diff car, and then that punched Charles further ahead of his pit stall, and then I think he might have had to teleport to his pit stall.
Well, when you get forced ahead of your pit stall in this game, and it teleports back. There you go. Yep, had to teleport, and as we've seen so many times, you teleport to your pit stall, and you're usually held on pit road for a lap or two, and he fell 4 laps down at the end of this race. That is a tough break right there, and now that answers the question of where that phantom damage came from on the front of John Arndt's Ford.
Yes, it does. All right, so I want to thank Seth so much for joining me here in the commentator's booth. I don't think we'll be seeing him again until FTF Super Speedway, unless he wants to do Talladega too.
I got a Talladega, Phoenix, or Homestead race to win.
Yeah, you do.
I got making that Final Four.
So you never know what's going to happen, especially with these in these upcoming racetracks. So. So thank you, Seth, so much for joining me. If you guys like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to become a part of the crew today. Also, subscribe to my channel, McKinnonMan93, where I will eventually start uploading videos again. So don't question me. they'll be up there. But so thank you so much for joining me. This has been a production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best. Seth.
Yeah, this is also being recorded on St. Patrick's Day, so top of the morning to you, ladies.
Good old Jacksepticeye. Shout out to Jacksepticeye.
Yeah.
All right, so so for Michael Norman and Seth Coe, we say until we meet again.